I'm John Strand, and I'm running for Fargo City Commission. I'm running for City Commission because I believe, and I know from experience, there's a lot of folks that aren't at the table, whose voices aren't heard, whose circumstances aren't recognized or acknowledged, and I think that's our job, is to represent all the people all the time. You know, when we went through the process of evaluating our elections, that was one of the recommendations that came out. And what I support is going to the people and asking them what they would like. If the people want 7 commissioners, and I think they will, I say we're all for it, let's do it. If they want 5 commissioners, that's our job, is to breathe life into the desires of the people. I'm absolutely open to either one. Whether or not it would come through our commission, it didn't the last time, and I was in favor of taking it to the people, but you never know. Times are changing, and I'm guessing that the people, regardless of the commission, will have the final say regardless. Boy, you know, I really like mail-in voting. If we can make sure there are streamline it and make it simple and easy. The notion of getting an application in your mailbox and sending it and not having to go out to the polls is just terrific. I hope it steps up turnout. I hope it steps up engagement and participation, because it's just awesome. Well, if you mean moving it to a day separate from the November general election, I would be hesitant. We already have a diminished turnout in the primary versus the November general. And moving it to another day separate from either of those two, I think would just really have a detrimental effect on turnout.
Okay, all right, so I'll kind of ask it as if it's a new question again.
Okay.
But, so do you think city elections should be moved to November?
No, I don't. That's a really good question, and I hear pros and cons of both models. I will defer to the people. It's not so much what I think, it's what they want. And if the folks want districts or wards, let's do it. If they don't want it, we're doing okay with that large voting. You know, I don't know. There again, we'd have to, lines and boundaries always leave somebody on either end or either side. So. But the main thing is you try to have a demographic that reflects that part of the city. In the end, I think the easiest first model to look at would be the county's model, where they have 5 wards, and yet they still vote at large. And so there's a lot of nuances to this, but I don't know. I guess we'd have to study and learn and build it from scratch the way we want it to be. I'm a media guy, and I think transparency in government is like as high a threshold as you can aim for, and it's necessary. On the other hand, you always have to have a balance for the people involved in that equation, and then there's that reality that whenever any people interact with the government in an official capacity, it's public. So I think good judgment is important, and respect, and honoring the intentions of people. But that said, transparency of government is absolutely paramount, and we can't go down any paths that diminish it or don't shed more light on government. It's needed, maybe more now than ever. Boy, you know, we're getting some really good practice right now in this pandemic of going digital and virtual with meetings. I'm seeing some meetings, like, for example, the Food Commission, which we have up to 24, 25 people participating in a virtual meeting. We couldn't get that type of participation when we're showing up at the commission chambers. So let's take this moment and learn from it and expand on it and stretch further our outreach to people, to bring them into us and us to them, and use the world's technology today and step up our access for the ordinary people. There's also another benefit to it. It documents what's going on at the same time. So We do need to engage the people more, especially in our boards and commissions, I'll say that. It's not ideal to meet when the people are working or when they're at home or having dinner or their kids have just gotten back from school. Frankly, I haven't studied that. I'd be curious what others do and what works best and what the models are. And I also like the idea of sometimes, once in a while, going to the people, to where they are. Go out into their neighborhoods and have some meetings and meet with them where they are already at. This stuff goes both ways. You know, there are some people who don't think public servants should get paid anything. And then what do you got? What do you get when you're there? You have people who can't afford to participate, who can't take the time off. So I think you have to have a compensation that's reasonable, that reflects the real commitment. I'll say this, it's my sense that my role as a city commissioner is a half-time job. You know, and I'm guessing the mayor is pretty much a full-time job. If we want people to do their work, we have to allow them to do it without penalizing them. And I don't think we need to have just the fortunate rich people who have social capital and economic wherewithal. I don't think it should be just them who have the ability to get onto public boards and commissions to serve. So yes, people should be paid fairly, and we shouldn't begrudge them the small amount of compensation they get for the work they do on behalf of the public. Well, we follow state laws for campaign finance tracking and reporting. Right now, the Ethics Commission, which came into place, has tightened up our reporting criteria. And in the end of the year, there's also a report of your expenses as a city commission campaign or candidate. So we're going the right direction on these efforts, and it's the proper direction to go. We don't want to loosen up campaign donations to the point where you can't track anybody's money and where it's from and what they're being influenced to do. My sense is, and I'm learning. I've had 4 years of getting my feet wet and studying and doing my homework, but I would look at the commissions and boards that we have and our methods and procedures and processes for naming people to these commissions. How do we solicit new members? How do we roll in and get new faces at these tables? And how do we diversify who's there? How do we really step up the application process and the visibility process and the competitive process to become a sitting member of the Planning Commission or the Economic Community Development Commission or the Human Relations Commissions or Native American Commission? All these commissions, we really have room for more people to get engaged and there's value in that. They're the people and we listen to them, so let's step that up. Well, my website, standwithstrand.com, has some basic overviews, or just Google my name. You'll find lots of information there.